Hey everybody, welcome to book club. We are studying The Slight Edge, and tonight we are on chapters 11 and 12. So chapter 11 is Mastering the Slight Edge, and I think I just kept saying wow through this whole entire chapter. It was so good. I would literally have like oh or wow written in the columns or in the margins. So the first thing that he talked about was the word mastery. And when I first heard it, I actually was thinking it was an end goal. Like, if you get your master's degree, I feel like you know something very, very well. So to me, when he was talking about how it's actually the opposite, it's the state of mind when you start something, that was totally brand new to me. So he talks about how in order to become a master or to master something, mastery takes you taking that first step, right? Taking that first step, getting on the path, and then having that mindset of being open to change, right? Getting out of our comfort zone and continuing even on the hard days. So he also talked about just immersing yourself in the process. And when he was talking about that, I was visualizing a pool and, someone standing at the edge of a pool. And I don't know why I saw it in slow motion, but I saw someone jumping into the pool, right, grabbing their knees and doing a cannonball. And when that person goes into the pool, they are totally immersed, right? Every single part of their body is under the water. They come back up soaking wet, right? Nothing is dry. And that's what I think of when I think of the word immersed. When you immerse yourself in something, in this plexus process, in this growth process, you're all into it, right? And so you're not just dipping your toe into the water. You really want to just dive in completely and immerse yourself in the process. So the truth is we are never going to be 100% ready for something new and something scary and something big. And so I think of when we brought our son home from the hospital, our first son, little bitty guy, in this car seat. And I remember just setting him on the floor, and Brian and I were sitting at our kitchen table. It was a table straight out of the 70s. And we were just eating our Subway sandwiches. And I just remember sitting there like all the emotions, yet no emotions at the same time, just scared. I had no idea what to do with this baby. I felt like I was going to break this baby. No idea what to do. But at that point, I had set my foot on the path, right? I was fully immersing myself into mommyhood, babyhood, which would become childhood, which would become homeschoolhood, which would become sassy daughterhood, all the hoods. And I feel like we master or we, get something under our belt and then it's the next thing. So the important thing is that we just set our foot on that path and then we just dive in and we keep going and we keep moving forward. So we will never perfect the process. We will never come to perfection or completion, right? Until we meet Jesus face to face. And so we have to be okay with 1% growth each day and continuing to move forward. So one quote I found was, enjoy the difficulty and love the process. How many of you can say that you enjoy the difficulties in your business and you love the process? Probably none of us. So I want you guys to think about, how would your business change if you showed up each day loving the difficulties and you're enjoying the process? You would probably do a lot more scary things. You would probably get back up when you fail forward right away. So some of you might need to go ahead and print out this quote and tape it somewhere. Put it somewhere where you can see it every single day. Enjoy the difficulties, love the process. So the truth is we can't enjoy the process until we take the first step. So you can't experience mastery until you take that first step. So my question is for you is, are you on the plexus path? It's a yes or no question answer. Maybe you've stepped off the path or lost faith along the way. Maybe you've even formed a bad habit of getting on and then off and then on and then off. And you know what? That can become painless over time, but not staying on the path and that lack of consistency, it will impact your goals and your dreams in a painful way. In the event that you will not achieve them. Ouch, right? But let's talk good news. It is as easy to get back on the path as it is to get or it's as easy to get off the path as it is to get back on. So get back on the path, right? And one thing I think of is that you can get on the path, but then you have to take a step. It's not a path unless you're moving on it. So it takes you getting into action, putting up a post, sending a message to someone about Plexus, hosting a power hour, setting up a sip and see, doing a welcome call. A path isn't a path unless you're moving on it. So you have to be able to take literal steps forward in your business. So about a year ago, or about a year into my business, I quit working for 6 months. I took my foot off the path. And long story short, I found myself drawn back to Plexus for so many reasons. And I started to dabble a little bit. And then one day I remember sending a message to Christina and April, and I said, I'm back in. And I put my foot back on that path, right? And then I decided it's a decision to take action. So I started getting back into personal growth, was engaging with the team. I was back on calls. I was sending messages. I was doing my retention. So I got back on the path. So then Jeff goes on to talk about the power and the pain of wanting. So when I joined 4 years ago, and I realized that I could dream again and have things that I never thought were an option for me, I ached for them. The new house with the gorgeous kitchen. I cannot talk tonight. The jacuzzi tub, being able to shop at Kohl's without a limit, having a lot of wiggle room in our budget, having a lot of money in savings. Those were all things that kept me going each day, every single day. And really it's your why, right? Your vision, your pain points. That's where we get that phrase, your pain points, the points in your life that bring you pain. Really, that's a lack of time, lack of health, lack of money. And so dreaming allows you to achieve the opposite of that, which is abundance. So you'll probably get really excited, when you dive in, and you'll have people on your team who are super excited and ready to share all of their whys with everybody else. And they'll find that some people may support them, but some may not. And that's just actually normal. I remember when April and I started and we shared it with our brother and sister, and they just, they thought we were crazy, and sometimes they still do too. But, some people are going to be skeptical. Some people are going to doubt you, scoff at you. Sometimes it's because they bring up their own insecurities in themselves. So the best thing you can do, you guys, is check and make sure that who you're surrounding yourself are like-minded people who are going to bring you up, who are going to encourage you, pretty much Plexus Freedom Team, right? And then fill yourself with belief on a daily basis. You've got to pour into yourself, and then it's just blinders on, head down, and then work at it with all your heart. So, okay, so he talked about point A and point B. Do you guys remember that diagram in the book? We're at point A, right? That's the point where we are right now. Point B is where we want to go. Point B is the future. Point A is the present. I call negative B the past. Right? So if it's opposite, it's going to be, I added that in. I think they probably should have added that into the book, but negative B. So for me, I'm at AM Emerald. I want to be at Sapphire Diamond. That's my point B, right? So you can figure out where you are now and where you want to be. There's this healthy tension, right? Which is normal. And I think of a rubber band. A rubber band was made to stretch. So there is that stretching. Now, if it's unhealthy tension, it's going to snap. Right? But that healthy tension, that kind of pulling you towards your goals is healthy. You should feel that, because that is going to get you out of your comfort zone. That's going to get you achieving the huge goals, reaching your fullest potential. It will never be friction free. There will always be some sort of friction, right? So you're fighting your fears. You might have excuses. You're busy. It's simple. It's as simple to not do the task as it is to do the task. So you really got to know why you're here and what you're working for. So he talked about how we can bridge that gap, right? From A to B. 95% of people quit and decide this is too hard, I can't do this. Only 5% of people actually do it. Go and bridge between A and B. And we're going to be the 5%, right? I want you to write in the chat, I'm going to be the 5%. I am the 5%. And so they talked about problems and how you're going to have problems that rise along the way, especially if you've got a really big gap of where you are here and you want to go all the way there. But it says that the size of the problem is going to show you how, like, the size of you are as a person, what you're able to go and achieve. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to make an impact. I don't want to just have tiny little problems and feel like my days all go smoothly and I'm in my comfort zone and I'm only impacting a tiny amount of people. I want to go big, right? I want to impact a lot of people. And so I'm going to have a lot of big problems, and that's okay. And that's normal. So, I know I got 2 minutes. I want you guys to close your eyes quick. I want you to close your eyes a second. And I want you guys to imagine that you're just in an open space. So, maybe it's an empty room, maybe it's a field, maybe it's the beach, but you're standing there and that's your point A. All right, I want you to turn to your right and you look ahead and you see your future. That's your point B. You made it. You achieved your why. You made it to your goals. How will you feel? Will there be joy, laughter, maybe tears of happiness, peacefulness, hugging? Who have you become? Who have you impacted? What sort of leader are you now? Now I want you to look to the left, because that's your past. That's the negative B. Because everything that you don't do, maybe you quit, you stop taking the steps, whatever you don't do, you will that automatically means you're sliding backwards, right? He says in the book, you cannot remain. You either move forward or backwards. So what do you see from your past? Maybe it's regret, shame, fear, stagnancy, loneliness, low self-worth, depression, pain. Maybe it's who you used to be. Someone who barely got started with reaching their potential. Maybe you were surrounded by negative people. Well, open up your eyes. Guys, that is no place to live. Do not stay stuck in the past, you guys, because if you keep continuing to focus there, you will never move forward. You will always have something pulling you back, like you talked about in the book. And we want you guys to fly. We want you guys to move towards your B, right? Because you are able. And so you've got to decide if you're either going to each day, you're going to stretch or you're going to settle. That is so powerful, right? You get a negative response and you don't want to send any more messages this week. Are you stretching or settling? You feel tired today. You don't want to do your IPA. Are you stretching or settling? You're on a welcome call and you skip the portion about sharing. Are you stretching or settling? You wait for someone else to call you to action. Stretching, settling. You allow the negative thoughts to take over instead of proactively fighting them. Stretching or settling. Each day we have a choice, you guys, to stretch or settle, to move towards our past or to move towards our future. And I just really want you guys to think about, I had a reflection question here somewhere. I don't know where it went. Oh, here we are. Are you willing to step out alone and go opposite of the norm? Because he talked about that. So I want you guys to think about this after call tonight. Do you think you're willing to step out alone and go opposite of the norm? Because when you go for something big and for big impact, it's going to be 95% against 5, right? Out of a crowd of 100 people, you will be 1 in 5 that is fighting hard for your dreams and willing to do opposite of the norm. So are you willing to go opposite in your faith, in your business, in your dreams, in your mindset? And if you're saying no, or there's hesitancy, you need to figure out why not. What is it? What is keeping you stuck? And then what will happen as a result of not being willing to take action? Okay, I totally skipped like a whole page, but that's okay. We got the gist of it. All right, Andrea, let's pass it over to you.
All right, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to talk about chapter 12. This is the chapter about investing in yourself. So the greatest gift you can give yourself is investing in your own improvement. And we're obviously all here doing that tonight. Book study, podcast, Diamond Docs, your uplines. We have so many resources on this team to invest in yourself. And then some interesting statistics from this book. 58% of people who graduate from high school and don't go on to college, never read a book again. 58%. That's a huge number. I was really shocked by that. And then 6 out of 7 of those people who do read books, they read for entertainment and not for growth. So there was a quote from Mark Twain. It said, "They fill their brains with stuff that ain't doing them no good." So only 5% of the world really understands that investing in self-development is the most valuable investment. So proud of you for all being here. The most important force you can harness to accelerate and amplify your path through life is the power of continuous learning. So the difference between book smart and street smart. Sometimes you'll hear, oh, they're really smart, but they're not real street smart, or they don't do the practical things. And one example they used in the book was 5 frogs sitting on a lily pad, and one decides to jump off. So how many are left? 5. So one decided to jump off, but hasn't actually done it yet. So this is similar to learning and applying. You decide you're going to invest in learning and you accumulate all of this knowledge, but it doesn't do you any good if you're not actually applying it. So the biggest mistake people make is they invest and they understand the need to invest in learning and knowledge, and they accumulate all this knowledge, but they still end up on the failure curve because they never actually apply it. So one of the quotes I liked from page 179 was, "You can't go get the power and then do the thing. Though people certainly try to do it that way, they have to spend their entire lives gathering power and doing nothing. Do the thing and you shall have the power." So book smart is not enough. All true success is built from a foundation of study plus street smart. So you actually have to jump off the lily pad, not just decide to jump off the lily pad. So I really liked the talk about how it's a rhythm. So reading about it, applying it, reading about it again, and deepen your understanding, and then go back to your activity. It's just this never-ending cycle of read about it, learn about it, apply it, and then go back and read about it, learn about it some more, and understand it maybe a different way, and go back and apply it. So on this team, we all know that we're always talking about failing forward. And this is considered what they called course correction. You're constantly going to be steering yourself and making slight adjustments to stay on course or get back on course. And this is normal. So when you get behind the steering wheel of your car, you don't get in and then just hold the steering wheel straight and end at your destination. You're constantly making slight little turns or adjustments to the road, potholes, whatever it is that come up along the way, to stay on course. And that's the course to your destination, or in this case, success. So failure is the formula to success. Double your rate of failure, because on the other side, you will find success. And then I have another little analogy that I want to read to you guys. So think about taking a trip on an airplane. Before you take off, the pilot has a very clear destination in mind, which hopefully coincides with yours and the flight plan to get there. The plane takes off at the appointed hour towards the predetermined destination, but in fact, the plane is off course at least 90% of the time. Weather conditions, turbulence, and other factors cause it to get off track. However, feedback is given to the pilot constantly, who then makes course corrections and keeps coming back to the exact same flight plan, bringing the plane back on course. And often the plane arrives at the destination on time. It's amazing. Think of it. Leaving on time, arriving on time, but off course for 90% of the time. If you can create this image of an airplane, a destination, and a flight plan in your mind, then you understand the purpose of a personal mission statement. It's the picture of where you want to end up. That is, your destination is the values you want to live by in your life. So even if you're off course much or most of the time, you will still have your sense of hope and vision, and you will eventually arrive at your destination. You'll arrive at your destination, and usually on time. So the next part of the chapter kind of goes into a penny for your thoughts. So the running commentary in your head is the most powerful. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it, is what people often say. So those nagging thoughts that get to all of us, those things where 80% of our mindset is what we have to control. So what you think multiplied by action plus time ultimately creates what you get. So through the power of your own thoughts, you're the most influential person in your life. And so another analogy used is, who's running the store? Who's running your life? 99% of everything you do is on autopilot, or your subconscious is controlling it. And you just have to choose what you allow into your subconscious. So most people think their conscious decisions or thoughts are who they are, but really it's the opposite. It's your subconscious virtually controls everything. So for me, I thought about, like, when I drive home from work, especially when I used to do some night shifts, I would get home and honestly have no idea how I drove that road home. But I was there, and I was just a familiar drive for me, and my subconscious took over and took me home. And this is also how people who end up at the end of their life or 50 years into their life and say, how in the world did I get here? Their subconscious actions got them there. So what determines what is in your subconscious? That's the people you hang out with, the TV shows you watch, the things you consume as far as, podcasts, the people you surround yourself with. The same way you learn to walk and potty train or brush your teeth and do that the same way each day, those things can be taught to your subconscious. So repetition, repeat it over and over until it's ingrained in you. And this goes for your actions and your thoughts. So a good example of this, or something that I've recently started, is daily affirmations and just a gratitude journal. So, and that is helping me with my mindset, which then in turn helps me with my actions. So the question I leave for you, which Abby alluded to, is, are you willing to be the 5% and do the work? Abby, do you want me to start discussion questions, or do you want to?